Doesn't say online, that's lovely. On. Apparently, doesn't want to connect, so I gotta do a refresh. Do this all over again. Here we go. It's coming up now. Didn't have to redo it either. And the timer's right. Now, let's see. Let me grab some connectors and I'll show you what I'm doing in a second live. Grab it. We got 45 seconds till live. Hopefully these will work. Liquid libation. Really gotta clean.
It's just rubbish. Let's get this. I'm just gonna go grab my stand drill.
Okay. Hello everybody. Sorry, things are a little messy today. I've been doing some changes in the environment that I'm working in, so things are a little bit disassembled. So we're gonna talk about a little bit of troubleshooting, hopefully, and this won't be too messy. But let's see what happens. So one of the things we talked about or had an issue with the other day was poles on your stepper and knowing where they are. So this is a DuPont connector. So I'm going to talk about it real quick and I'll bring up the chat in a second. We're just a little bit running behind today. But I'm going to connect these just so we can see what happens on this side by putting that right there. Just turning this, seeing if it works. See how it flashes? That's one side of your poles for here. That's the way it should be wired. Then if we go over here and we do the other side, we can check it. If I turn this fast enough, it'll light up because I don't have the smaller diodes. But that's one way to test to see that you have your poles set up. I also have Adrian on the live stream.
How are we going, everybody?
Yeah. I'm gonna see what the chat looks like. Hopefully this won't crash everything. Apparently my computer's not always cooperating, so hopefully it'll get better in a second. That app. There you go. So I'm bringing up the chat, so hopefully we can see who's in there. Looks like we got a couple people already. There's 3 and 1. So how's everybody doing today? Can you hear me in the chat? Or can you hear Adrian in the chat? So I just typed in, can you hear us? Hopefully, I mean, there's an 8-second delay. Yeah. So Michael says he can hear us both. Okay. So that's good. So had a couple questions over yesterday that people are asking about. Right now I'm in the process of rebuilding my recording station. So things are somewhat broken down on my side, but Adrian's side is all set. So I was gonna, I don't know if Adrian can see in the video stream on your side.
I can see it.
Okay, you see how I have a diode in there?
Yeah, that little LED.
Yeah. So it's on two sides. So if you put this in incorrectly, it won't work, but there's two sets of poles. You'll see the separation in a second because there's a delay. So if I turn the motor, you'll see it illuminate in a second. And I have to turn this a lot because of the type of diode it is. It's a little bit bigger than normal. So that's the first side. The other side is over here. Now, different manufacturers might do it different ways for their wiring, but this is a way to check it for your printer board. So both sides work, although it's a lot of work with this particular diode. Smaller ones are easier. So we know that this is wired the way it should be. So what I was going to try is actually to see if we can see what's going on with the multimeter. Not real well versed in this, so it's going to take a second for me to figure out the setting. Get the multimeter out here. It's going to take a second for me to see where we are, but I'm going to set it to voltage for the second. See if I can cause it to work. So I'm going to put the probe on the two closest pieces on one side, each probe on each. Somehow turn the motor with my third arm. You can see it move up, down. So that's not super good, so let me see if I can do. There we go. See about 1 volt when it's around. So you know that's the one side. Then if you do the other side for the other two, you can also verify it's working if I get it in the right place. But I have to really turn to it. That's why I like using the diode, because you get the instant back.
Yeah. See that light turn on. It's working.
Yeah. But let me get this out of the way. Now, we did have a couple of questions that I wanted to address. I have to look them up, but do you have your multimeter on your side? We could probably bring up the video for them.
But I have no clue what I'm. So I've got 3 holes on my multi. I don't know what's in what.
Okay, so let's see what we got. There's probably one that says COM.
I've got that. That's common.
And then there's something that looks like a horseshoe with a V.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plug the red one into that one and the other one into COM.
The black goes on.
Yeah, and I'm sure someone in the chat will inform us if we're doing it incorrectly.
Then what I have of a multimeter.
Yeah, so I'll put mine in front so you can see. So there's voltage, or I think that's average voltage. I might be misreading this, so don't get too upset. And there's another voltage up here, and then there's probably a voltage on the screen. One's direct current, the other one is alternating current on mine. And then you have millivolts, which are DC or direct current. Then you have
just out of camera.
The horseshoe is
Mhm.
going to be resistance, and that's used for continuity.
Yeah.
So I don't know which type you have, but on mine, if you set it to this and touch them together, create a circuit and it beeps. So if you have a wire that you don't know if it's good or not, you can touch either end with this and it'll tell you if the wire has a break in it.
Right, okay.
Same thing goes for like circuits on a board. So we do have a couple of questions in the chat.
I sent you my meter so you can.
Yeah, hang on, I gotta see if I can see the screen here. Okay, so yeah, that one's a fun one. I haven't actually worked with that one ever. So
Yeah.
it would take me a couple of seconds, but I think the V. Oh, there's resistance, so you got the horseshoe one, so that'll work.
Yeah.
But let me answer these questions real quick. Let's see. We can be heard loud and clear. Someone wants to know what kind of desktop I'm using or computer I'm using. I used to use a laptop, but I switched to a desktop. And this is my media center machine for making videos. So it's a little bit more horsepower than normal streaming machines. I built it myself. Some of the issues that I ran into today were camera related and USB hub related. That's why it took us so long to get set up. Memory I think is maxed out. I don't remember how much I have on this because it's a lot. But let me check real quick. If I can find device manager. Sorry, I've got two screens in front of me too that make this interesting. And very little space because it's inside a galley kitchen. Try my computer. Let's see, desktop. And of course my computer's not there, so we'll try my PC. Excuse me. Right now it only has 48 gigabytes of RAM on it, so it's not a lot. I was gonna upgrade it further, but it's an AMD Ryzen 5 3600X, which means that I can overclock it, and it's got 6 cores. That's why compiling is so quick on this machine. But I'm thinking about upgrading it to something even more powerful for videos. Yeah, this computer, I actually know how to build computers, but I've never considered actually showing people how to build them. I might do that next. Yep.
You'll be impressed. I built my computer.
Yeah. Which one?
Yeah. The one that I'm using right now.
Yeah, it's better bang for the buck when you build your own.
100%. Like basically, I don't know what the math is on it in America, but you either save like 20% money, gain 20% power.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like the average. So building one is worth it.
Yeah, so I was thinking maybe we could do a joint video on building a machine one of these days where
yeah, that'd be awesome.
yeah, but at the moment I've got a station here that I've basically ripped down the studs. You guys don't know what I'm trying to do. I'll show you parts of it. Won't knock anything. I ordered a little bit of material. I ordered 6 of these. I didn't order enough. And I'm also building a big box so I can actually film inside it. So I can actually walk up to the work so you can see me without having to reach around so much stuff. But this is under construction. It probably is going to be a week or two before I finish it. But it'll basically be a mini studio that sits on a table so I can not worry about the camera being in the way. And I'll put up plans for how to do it so that other people can do it if they stream something else, like, I don't know, board games or things like that. So, let's see. I know I have a couple of questions I gotta look up here. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the Or, I'm sorry, Photomaker. I'm trying to think of a PC to build that's cost effective but gives you the bang for the buck. But for those that don't know, I use PC Builder so that I can match up my parts. But right now I'm pulling up the questions from yesterday that I had. Let's see what we got here. I got a question from somebody in Russia, I think. They wanted to know how to do the rep wrap on the SKR board. So I was going to show them that. And I think someone also wants to do it on the ramps. So I have to find the ramps in a bin right nearby me. And I think that's Kugan, or Kugan, if he's in here tonight. I told him that I'd be doing this at 6 o'clock, so I'll start with the SKR because I have that closest by. But, are you able to get those motors to turn, or are they too loose?
Me?
Yeah.
Motors are in my system right there. You know what I mean?
And the cabling.
Oh, you mean once I connect?
Yeah.
Try it.
No, I'm just bored. Got them oh so well organized today. There we go. On the SKR13. I don't know if the guy from Russia is awake right now because it's, what, 12 hours difference or 11 hours difference? But, yeah.
Currently nothing.
Okay. So what you can do is you can actually unplug it, and then you can test it with a multimeter for voltage. And I'll bring that up in a second for people to see. Right now I'm just trying to match the camera up here. Go. Now I gotta find the actual LCDs, so I'll let them see what you're doing, hopefully.
But what set the voltage? I mean, it's
So the multimeter, set it to voltage, but make sure that your system's de-energized or powered down.
Yeah, so USB's unplugged, power's on.
Okay.
So voltage is that the one with the V and then the solid line and the 3 dots?
So there's a couple different ones, but I think both will work, but you're gonna have to turn the motor kind of hard.
It's gonna be hard because the motor's all rigged up into my machine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you might be able to just turn it forward and back, just a little.
I can do that. That will do. That will go. Okay, cool. So so take the connector out. Trace which one this one goes to, so I can tell.
So for those that don't know, we numbered the wires last week so that we could verify where they go.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're gonna have to get you some museum putty.
Yeah, I saw you doing that. That was pretty clever.
Yeah. Till it smears around the table. Let's see.
So it's actually
So I don't know if your probes are gonna fit.
yeah, I think they will. They've got like a spike on the end.
Oh, so they're really tiny?
Not really. They're tiny enough, definitely, to fit there.
Yeah, I had to order tiny ones because they came with really big ones. And all we're trying to do is test to see if both sides actually show up. And I'm going to dig through a bin while you do that. For those that don't know, I have a couple of dozen boards and LEDs or monitors and LCDs. So sometimes I have to dig for equipment. But I've got tons of ramps. Let's see.
Nothing happens when I like spin the motor head.
Okay, and what happens on the other side?
Do you mean on the other side where I put these connections?
Yeah, so they're paired left and right.
Yeah, no, nothing happens on either side.
Okay, that's fine. Do you have jumper wires by chance?
What would that be?
It will look something like these. Hang on, let me bring up the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Might take a second for it to show up because I know there's a delay.
Yeah.
But they'll have pointed versions of the male side of these so that you can extend them out. Let me see if I've got some sitting here. There's one. So you can plug that into the end of it, extend it out, and if you have the other side that's like this, then you can put your actual multimeter on those. That's one way to get to.
It's definitely connecting to the metal. Like I know I'm on the metal.
Yeah.
Is this voltmeter thing, is that set to the right thing? Because it's set to 200. So
Try getting it to the lowest increment you can find, because the motors
so
don't.
Would that be 20 or 2000 M or 200 M? Like.
Oh, I didn't realize I didn't change the screen. Sorry about that. 200 M.
Okay. That's basically detecting a smaller signal.
I'm hoping.
Essentially.
It might be millivolts or it might be the metric version of something higher. But if you're turning it and you see that move, then it works.
Yeah, it moved a little bit, so it's 0, 0, and if I move it, I can get it to do like 2.2 and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like,
So we're assuming that side's good. So try the other side.
Other side. Yeah, that definitely moves. That's like a 10 that I saw a second ago.
So I'm guessing that it's probably functional. And are there one or two of those? I forgot. For Z-axis. Okay.
So maybe it's something in there. That's what I think it might be. Oh, hang on. How to get on the camera?
It's a possibility.
Maybe it's in this thing, you know?
Yeah, those could be damaged. It's not a big deal. It's easy to replace and it's kind of cheap.
Yeah, I've already got those ordered. So I'll just put this back inside this.
Okay.
And then check the other motor.
Yeah, right now I'm just trying to find a LCD, the RepRap full graphics smart controller.
Which I'm very sorry, everybody. No one at home is going to be able to watch me test this other one because it's too far away. But I will be doing exactly the same method as what I just did. It's just going to be slightly off camera so that I can get it to work.
Here we go. Let me clean this up a little. Some of my parts have gained a little dust. Not sure how well this is going to work, but this says that it's a RepRap full graphics smart controller by Big Tree Tech. And I'll show you guys what I'm doing in 2 seconds. I'll just...
Yeah, this has no problem. Like it must be those connections.
That's fine.
Because that definitely works. One. This one is also.
Look at.
Anything like inside these fonts to like bend it?
If you have the same size connector, but it might be that they're just not functional. Not a big deal. I mean, you could solder it to the board if you're really desperate, but I don't suggest doing that.
There's like a thing inside, you know, the actual.
Well, the connector connect. I forgot what they call it, but I'm sure the chat knows what it's called. Let's see.
Is there a way to, like, if I take it out again somehow?
Yeah. Somebody's asking what the I missed what the leveling bubble is for. That's usually used for your surface. So I try and tune my surface to the actual levelest surface possible, but due to the configuration of my kitchen, I can't work around this very easily, so I got it as close as possible. So I can shim it, but on the Creality, you don't really have to worry about leveling because you just have one axis. This is for a 2Z axis printer. So that's why I have a bubble level. It's about $1.50 American. So probably $2 for every other country or less, I don't know. So I'm going to show people how to hook this up real quick. We're going to do EXP1, I think, which is over here. I don't know how well this is going to work out because this might have to be reversed. But I'm going to push that in like so. Note the red side. We're going to do the same on the back here for EXP1. And probably going to have to rotate it like so. Then we're going to do the same for EXP2. In EXP2 on this one, I'm going to go right here. And the other side is going to go over in EXP2. So to test to make sure this works correctly, because I'm not sure with this particular LCD, I haven't used it in forever. Let me grab my power cable. The correct one, that is. Sorry, I've got like 4 cables hanging around. 2 seconds. Here we go. So we're just going to power it on. Now it's not powering on because of the jumper. So I have to move the jumper over to voltage. This is just to test. When you're using steppers, you want to make sure that you have it. So it powers on, so we're good there. So I'll show you guys how to do this real quick. Let's see. I need to go over to VS Code, and you need to be able to see what I'm doing in VS Code.
Ed?
Yeah.
You need me, buddy, for this one, or do you want me to wait until I fix those things?
No, we can chat along as we do it. Maybe you could walk me through how to do this.
I have no idea what you're doing. No skill.
Yeah, you do. You just don't know it. So, essentially, they want to hook up what's known as a RepRap full graphics smart controller. And the board type for this person that was asking yesterday is the SKR version 1.3. So what we need to do is actually pull down the firmware from the internet on Marlin's website, but I've already done that. So if you want to walk them through the process of doing it, I'll pulling down Marlin's. Yeah, so
I think go to Marlin W something.
Yeah, I'm gonna put your screen on for a second. Hang on, I gotta find it. There we go.
Haven't shared my screen.
Okay, then I can hold off on that for a second. Okay. There it is. 2 seconds, I'll bring it up. Okay, let me make it so it's visible. I have to go over here. I don't see it at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fix that.
Okay, let me make it bigger. And I'll try and get this set up on this side. Oh, that's why I can't do it.
So you need to go to, or at least just Google search Marlin FW.
Yeah.
And it should come up, but for some reason it's not loading for me.
Oh.
Let me just Google it, Marlin FW. There we go, that's why. There we go. It's marlinfw.org.
Okay, and then the newest build is which one?
So I just go to downloads, and then the latest release is version 2.0.7.2.
Okay, and then this part you might not know because there's one right below it. It says 1.1.9.1.
Yeah, the previous release.
And then there's an older release, being a very old one, below that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
Those bottom two are 8-bit releases, meaning that the chip that they use is 8 bits. The one on the top can either be 8-bit or 32-bit, being latest release. So you can work with the top one as a way to actually deal with either or. But one of the questions that I had is that earlier in the week someone had trouble because I made a tutorial 2 to 3 years ago and it was on 1.1.8. So when they tried it on 1.1.9, it didn't work because a lot of changes occurred. So once they rolled back to 1.1.8, it worked. But that's has to do with Marlin constantly upgrading their firmware. So my actual stuff doesn't work after a couple of years because the firmware has probably changed a lot. So after you download it, you want to extract it or unzip it. And then you want to go into your browser, and I'll show them this part. And then you can walk me through it. I know there's going to be a slight delay. So I'm in VS Code. Almost everybody in the chat's probably seen me do this 1,000 times now. But parts of it you won't be able to see. And that's me going to the Explorer. When I click open, you won't see this part because it's the file browser. And I don't have it set for that. And then I'm just basically mapping to my downloads folder. And then I'm opening up the second deep Marlin folder. So it's Marlin 2.0, Marlin 2.0, then select folder. This is where I'm pretty sure you'll be able to walk me through it. So the first question once you load this is, what type of board am I working with?
Yeah, so what are you working with?
So I'm working with the SKR version 1.3. This is the first board or second board in their, or third board possibly. I know there's a 1.1. I don't know if there's a 1.2. But this is the one that became popular. So if you go to...
Why did it... What was
it was easy to work with, mostly. People didn't know how to work with it. The only reason that I learned to work with it, I was doing 8-bit forever, that somebody in Brazil said, why don't you do the SKR boards? So I got one. And at first I was overwhelmed. And then I figured out what the process was and made a tutorial. Then I made, I think, 10 more or 11 more tutorials. And then the 1.4 came out and I started doing that. So that was, I think, January of the year before. Might have been a year ago. But in this case, what we need to do is find the board. So you're going to go to source core boards.h. And then you're going to search on SKR. And it'll bring you to that board. Now, the interesting thing is there's a 1.1 version. There's a 1.3 and a 1.4, which is similar to what you have. I think you have the turbo.
Yeah, I got the...
So this is in the other chipset being LPC 1768. So we're going to copy that one. And then you have to go over to your configuration.h and search on motherboard. And then right now it has the default ramps configuration, so I'm going to paste that over it. And for the ramps, I think you leave this at 0, but I forgot. But for this board, it's -1. Last Friday, I think we showed why that was, because you lost connectivity.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. So now that we have that configured, we can load it. But in order to load it, we have to set platform.io.ini, which is the default environment, which is LPC 1768. And then we're using a RepRap full graphics smart controller, I think. Let's see, RepRap discount full graphics smart controller. So we go to the config.h, we do a search on RepRap. I think it's underscore discount. And it says discount smart controller. And this one says RepRap discount full graphics smart controller. So we have to search for the second instance. And it's this one right here. So all we have to do is remove the comment. And then there's other things you can set up. I've done a couple of tutorials on this. They may have aged out in the old Marlin, but we've already set this part, so we need to search on, what is it, SD support, I think it is, because this has an SD card on it. So SD support, it might be something else, but there it is. LCD and SD support. Been a while since I've done this. Depending upon your language, you have the option right here. So you have English. I don't know what AN is off the top of my head. Maybe someone in the chat room knows. But PL is Polish. I think the person that was asking was Russian, so it would be RU probably. So you would set that right here for the language of your choice. Down here, you have the option for Cyrillic if you so choose, but we're going to be doing Western because it's easier for most of the audience to understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to put Western here. And then there's other things. There's style, there's classic, and then there's Prusa style. We're just going to leave it as style 0, which is this number. And then there's turning on the SD card, which is SD support, I think, up here. Here it is. You can enable the SD card by doing that, by removing the comment. But I don't want to dwell too much on this because I've actually made a tutorial on this. So to load it, we're going to press the platform upload. I'm going to clean first. Then I'm going to do an upload, and then I'll check on the chat while that's going on. Okay. Got here. Got a lot of people in here today. So after that finishes building, we can then have it directly pushed to the board if it doesn't fail. And what's happening right now is it's pulling down the actual plugins that I would normally do in Arduino Studios. It does it automatically in platform.io. So we can check this real quick. I'll pull up the drive for this so you can see what's going on. As I set the right monitor. There we go. So it has the firmware on there, so all we have to do is go over to the workbench, disconnect the power, reconnect the power, and see if it comes up as ramps or rep on the screen. So it just finished loading and it says Marlin, so it worked. So that's all there is to setting that up for the person that asked in Russia. Then there's somebody else that had a similar question with a different board, and that would be the ramps. This one I haven't done in. Yeah, you're gonna.
I just sent you a quick message. I'm gonna have back half an hour.
Okay.
But really sorry. Life, crazy chaos. Thanks so much. I'll either tomorrow. I'll just make.
Okay.
Good luck every question.
I don't know about that, but
you are to me. I'm halfway there, so
yeah.
I'm pretty impressed. Get that one thing sorted out. SAP.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Take care. Thanks.
Everybody, have a good.
Yeah.
Bye.
Ciao. So the other question that we had was somebody was trying to figure out how to do this on their ramps. Now I don't know how good this ramps is anymore because I haven't used it in 2 or 3 years. So it's going to take me a second possibly to check to see what's going on. But the way that we can do this, I'm going to plug this in a second. I'm just making sure I have a ramps and don't have a 32-bit controller on the bottom. But here it is. Push this down a little. You have the same configuration except you need a special jumper that fits on over the pins. I don't want to pop it off because I don't want to break it. But I'm going to have to guess on which port these are. And it's really not that bad, because if you get it wrong, you can always just switch the order. But you're going to plug this in, like so. And this one like so. So the notch connector, as I flip the board over, which you don't want to do. I'm then going to find whichever one it is on this and plug it in. This might be backwards, but that's okay. Do the same over here. And then I'm going to plug in the power, and I don't know what's on here, so it may illuminate this or it may not. So at the moment, it doesn't look like we're getting any power. So the first thing you can do is you can pop this off, pop it on the opposite one. Got power now. Do the same over here, and that might be what some people's issues may be, but as you can see, there's nothing on the LED. So I'll show you how to fix that. It probably means the firmware is not loaded. So essentially, if we go back to VS Code for a second, I'm going to take a shortcut. Seeing how I've already showed how to set it up for this one, we're going to skip this part. And I'm just going to show you how to make the mod real quick in the firmware. So I just got to pull the firmware up in front of me. So we're working with the original default version. So I'm going to click here. I'm just going to hit Control Z to bring back the default environment of Mega 2560. And then we're going to have to set the ramps. So we're just going to go to Source Core. And then boards.h. And it's probably up here. It's the ramps 1.4, but it's not a rearm. Rearm is 32-bit. That's why we're going to search on board_ramps. And here is the default configuration. So we want to do EFB, which stands for hot end fan bed. So I'm going to copy that. Then I'll go over to configuration.h and search on motherboard. I'll paste it right here. And then I'm going to change this to 0. I'm not sure if that's correct, but those are the only changes that we need to make. But we have to do a real clean because it's already got a 32-bit configuration. And then we'll try the upload and see how this works. Last time I tried this, I had to fumble and bumble around until I figured it out. So if this fails, it might be that its serial port is 1, or I'll have to Google it. But I'll check on the chat while that's going on. So does anybody have any questions about their stuff? Because this is some of the questions that I've been getting during the week. Let me check on that. It is flashing. So I guessed right. So it's 0 in this case. And it's significantly easier when you have platform I/O loaded. All you have to remember is what motherboard type and your platform IO.ini. It's going to flash for you right down in here like it would for the Arduino Studios. So that'll take care of the issue for that person in theory if I did this right. So we're going to have to go back over to the camera and see what happened. Right now it's already loading and rebooting. So you're going to miss part of this. So let me bring up the camera. So what happened was while it was loading, it reboots at the end. I know it's kind of shiny, but you can see now it's functioning. So that's all you have to really do for that. So let's see if anybody's got some questions while I try and figure out what the other questions were that happened earlier this week. Oh. That's not a question. Yeah, for those that say thank you and stuff like that, it's great. Obviously, I try and answer everyone. Sometimes I miss 1 or 2 comments a week, maybe. But I don't mean to, so if you have a question that I haven't answered, you always repost it and just keep bugging me until I answer it. Let's see. Somebody does want me to show the BL Touch, but that's kind of a complex configuration. So I'm going to probably have to make a video out of that just because there's so many steps. And moving large things around during a live stream is not advisable. Especially when you have dishes just below the surface that you're working. Well, pots and pans, not dishes. So that covers most of the questions that I see this week. So is there anything that you guys want to talk about? I'll put affiliate links in here if you really want them. Nobody's actually paid me or sponsored me to do either one of these tutorials. But for the people that have been tipping me, I know the list is kind of long. I looked it up last time. It took me a while. But thank you very much. If you're doing super chats, that's great too. But the PayPal ones have been overwhelming for me and the list of people that I have to thank. And for the 2 Patreons that subscribed 2 weeks ago, thank you very much. I'll be trying to update Patreon one of these days, but right now I'm trying to update the recording station. And maybe someday I'll build a website. But if no one's got any questions today, I'll be working on hopefully some videos that people have been requesting, like the, what is it, 5130 or something like that. I'll try and do that tomorrow morning. But right now I've got everything torn apart in here, so I've got to start building this recording studio station that I'm trying to build so that I can actually walk up to the work instead of tripping over it. So for those that came and watched for the last hour and a half, 2 hours, thank you very much. Eventually we'll finish with the Ender 5 upgrade. But right now we're just waiting on parts. And maybe in the future we can do another tutorial with somebody else that wants to do an upgrade and hopefully get it done in 3 or 4 hours. So for those that have been stopping by and watching the live streams, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And take care and be safe. Oh, let's see. More servos on the Big Tree Tech 1.4. Can we save that until tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock? That way I can prepare for it. Unfortunately, I've got to get the servos. I don't know if I have them all on hand or they're buried someplace. So I'll do that tomorrow if I can find them. Otherwise, I'll show a tutorial on how to do them in other places on your board. But unfortunately, if you solve this mess, you'd understand why I can't do much at the moment. But the other thing is, people can also put video requests on Discord. Sorry, I'm having trouble talking. I've been up since 6:30. I start to slow down in the afternoon, but there's a section that says YouTube requests, and I'm betting that there's probably, well, I'm not sure if there's one in there for a servo, but if you put it in there, it'll also go into the queue where I can show you how to do that. So just let me know that it's not on the normal thing. Brushless motors via Marlin without special G codes. Are you talking about NEMA 17 steppers, or are you talking about the other type of steppers? Because brushless confuses me only because these function without these function with magnets, so they're free floating. So I think that's what you're saying. Okay. I think, are you talking about the ones that are the new steppers that came out? Let me see if I can find a picture or the actual type. I have them close by, I just don't know where. Here we go. Are you talking about this type? So you're talking about an alternate type of stepper. If you post a link to it on Discord, I'll try and look it up. But I think you're talking about remote controlled ones. Actually, I might have one nearby. Let me check. Are you talking about something like this? I don't know if that's what you're talking about. I know it might not be in focus. I've got something powered up here, so. Okay, well, I'm gonna wish everybody a good night because apparently my speech is starting to slur the way I'm talking because of fatigue. But take care, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow around 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.